Well guys, on the 458th day of 14 days to flatten the curve or save the NHS, we got an article here that's good in parts, batshit crazy in some and flat wrong in others. It is in relation to the utter shit show this country finds itself in right now. Alistair Heath wrote it for the Telegraph, and while he rightly calls out the authoritarian lunacy we're living under that is now precedent, he makes some bold claims with, as far as I know, zero evidence to back them up, and is clearly ignoring the costs when talking about any so-called benefits, much like Boris Johnson and this government have done since day one. As you know, and many MPs have pointed out, a cost-benefit analysis has been missing like a fart in the wind when it comes to government policy since at least March 2020. The media are also guilty of that, since not one of them questioned the collateral damage brought about by lockdowns or stay home to save the NHS, despite obviously its job and sole purpose being to look after us, not the other way around, as you know. £100 billion of your tax money every year goes into funding the NHS at the end of the day. It's the only public service never to see a drop in funding. It only ever increases, and last year they spent more time dancing on fucking TikTok than they did treating people who didn't have bat flu. And let's not forget, these people pay their wages, so I really take issue with Alistair Heath's claim that harsh restrictions and social distancing saved thousands of lives, as you can see on the screen. Personally, I've seen no evidence to suggest this, and he cites none of it in the article itself. Now, shortly after that, he does mention lockdown collateral damage, which also flies in the face of him saying harsh restrictions have saved lives. If harsh restrictions save lives but lockdowns cost them, then how did harsh restrictions actually save anything? Who decides which life is worth saving and which life do they choose as collateral damage while they save others? Saving a life but costing someone else their life is nothing to celebrate, let me tell you. And as many have pointed out, lockdown's collateral damage affects the young, while from what I know, those saved would have obviously been older. Now, in my mind, both lives are valuable and neither should be considered collateral damage at the end of the day. But who the fuck decided the young should be sacrificed when dealing with this shit show? In my mind, there are no benefits, it's just a shit show, plain and simple. Now, one thing he does say in there that is true is this part here. The government also precipitated a far-reaching cultural revolution that will make Britain permanently less free, prosperous and civilised. Lockdown's catastrophic collateral damage, combined with a series of pre-existing errors such as Boris Johnson's spending spree, his net zero agenda and the housing shortage, mean Britain faces years of social and economic decline, tax rises and inflation. Now, most if not all of that bit there I actually find it hard to argue with, because as you know we are in a shit state. The cultural revolution is moving towards medical apartheid, as you know. The government and media at times have essentially wished people to vilify their own friends and family if they stray away from the narrative. The precedents set over this year will literally never go away, and in fact will just become more of a shit show than they are now. Just imagine how fucked we will be should Labour ever get in power. It's a nightmare waiting to happen even if they don't. Now, further down he states, until COVID it would have been unthinkable for a government to shut airports. Now it's just another tool to fight disease. We have normalised the abnormal, which is obviously true. This applies equally to economics, because if printing money works for COVID, why not for HS2? If higher benefits buy votes during a pandemic, why not all the time? Decline and fall takes many forms. Which obviously it does, and let's be honest, this country is on the decline at pace that should really be impossible, or it would be if we weren't being sold out by tosspot politicians, as you all know. Not just over this, but over everything in general for many years now. These days all bets are off, as you can clearly see. Anything goes for these demented fuckpigs this past year has shown us without any doubt. He goes on further down, the next steps are obvious. There will be a push for digital IDs with health and financial data connected with state bodies to be granted the right to track us. Travel bans will be imposed at the first sign of any new virus, and furlough and mass state intervention will be the norm during every downturn. There will be work from home orders, remote schooling and lockdowns come the next bad flu season, all to save the NHS. And the national debt will eventually reach Italian or Japanese levels, if it fucking hasn't already or is due to this year. So what he's saying there is that we're essentially fucked, and obviously I find it hard to disagree with any of that bit there. It seems that this is coming to me also, and so have many of you said this to me long before now. As you know, when the lunacy starts, it only gets more batshit crazy, as we have seen. I mean, these tosspots are literally taking the piss out of the people in plain sight almost daily like they don't give a fuck, because of course they literally don't. Now guys, remember my new website is down below along with my BitChute and Odyssey channels. Obviously you're only a couple of wrong words away from being shit canned by YouTube into the wrong thing gulag, so like I said, check me out on them if you have not already.